Scepter.
Yes, it's literally the only reason.
Yeah, they were thinking years ahead.
Years ahead when they made this one.
Yeah.
In Mirage. I reprinted it in 6th edition, reprinted it in 7th edition. Really weird card. But you could play with 6 of them or 12 of them if you wanted to. If you just want to go Sundial, take an extra turn.
Yeah.
I did not realize until I was thinking about it how many of these you could play. And that is a lot of taking extra turns and losing the game.
Sweet.
So we'll have the match on shortly, as well as Decklist. I want to see what's in this deck. It should be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, taking infinite turns seems pretty sweet. Like, I don't know.
It's a cool thing to do, I guess. Like,
yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Like, infinite turns, like, I mean, it's not infinite damage, but I mean, what is?
It's always more fun to see the, like, infinite combo decks, like the, like, time warp decks where, you know, there's still potential of getting out of it, so your opponent has to sit there and wait.
Sure,
Once you take infinite turns, it's kind of...
Maybe let's make a play. All right, you got infinite turns, kill me.
Yeah.
Like, go for it.
Like when you have a person in a Mind Slaver lock, like, all right, I want to see you kill me with my own deck.
Yeah. I mean, once you do that, you can get it down to a pretty simple loop, but it still, you know,
Yeah.
takes a little bit of time to execute. Lots of cool things you can do with Sundial to Infinite. I was thinking about it the other day, and here at Decklist to find out what we have. So, all right, so Andrew Johnson's deck. 4 Grand Abolisher, all right, that's probably one of his kills. He's got Enlightened Tutor, Words of War, Final Fortune, Ice Crown Scepter.
What's Words of War? Is that the shoot 2 for 2?
Yeah, so Words of War is an enchantment. So skip your draw,
That's
step, deal
the
2
kill.
damage. So that's a skill. You pay 1, skip your next draw, deal 2 damage. That's what its main kill, I'd imagine. Sundial, Swords of Plowshares, Mental Misstep, Sensei's Top, Orum's Chant, Ruined Halo, Crucible, and Moat.
All right, and so his opponent, Ryan Foster, is playing a blue-white control deck, no creatures.
Wow, not even a Stoneforge Mystic.
No, it's just 1 Elspeth and 4 Jace are the kill conditions, except there might be some lands. Yeah, there's like a Colonnade, and that's it for ways to win the game. And then he's just got Wrath of God, Crucible World, Swords, Spell Snare, Mental Misstep, a Repeal, Force of Will, Dismember, 2 Counterspells, 4 Brainstorm, 4 Standstill, and a Shackle. So it's actually... I think we might see Final Fortune get some combo kills.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty slow deck, and if this guy plays like a Grand Abolisher or something like that, I mean, there's not too many ways to deal with it.
Well, I mean, he's got Sword, Wrath, Dismember.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you just do it all in the same turn, if you go Abolisher and then combo them, they'd never get a chance to do anything, so it's pretty interesting. I'm curious as to why he doesn't have Stoneforge Mystic.
Because you'd have to play Equipment.
Yeah, I mean, you have to play Equipment. Also, by playing Mystic, it just means that you're more open to removal, right?
I think you're like something in the sideboard. You were talking about people not playing any hate for the
yeah,
the
he's got
Hive
4
Mind.
Angel's Grace. Yeah, I think people are finally starting to respect it, but it's not quite widespread enough.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see it as Hive Mind keeps winning.
Only 3 Wastelands. That seems kind
Only
of
3
small,
Wastelands
right?
too. I mean, could also be a card availability issue. Wastelands are what, $50, $75 now, something insane like
Wait,
that.
what?
So, yeah, it's insane.
Wastelands like $75.
It was 50 at one point. I think it might be up to 75 now. Anyway, here we go.
Wow.
Into the match. Andrew Johnson playing Sundial of the Infinite combo.
And Ryan Foster playing a blue-white control
Blue-white
deck.
control deck, yeah. Man, maybe in blue-white control, this might be a matchup that the Sundial Infinite deck is good against. Excited to see how this plays
maybe
out.
the Sundial deck is just good against everything.
Maybe it's just good against everything. Who knows?
Maybe it's been broken here at SCG Seattle. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
Wasteland's at $60
It was
right
like
now.
15 like 6 months ago, right?
Yep,
Or 3 months ago.
about a year ago.
Wow.
At the start of the year, it really started climbing in price, but
I like my standard. The price is outrageous.
Wasteland's a good card to have if you have them. Uncommon, no less. Uncommon.
Yeah, that's
Up there with
unreal.
Force of Will's most expensive uncommon. So,
All right.
Andrew Johnson on your right. Andrew was the man piloting the Infinite Turns deck. The way this works, if you don't know, is you play Ice Crown Scepter and you put Final Fortune on it. Final Fortune says you take another turn. At the end of that turn, you lose. Normally, losing is very bad. You don't want that to happen. But if you have Sundial of the Infinite play, the quirky new M12 rare that says pay 1, tap it, and end your turn, you take another turn with the Scepter. At the end of that turn, you put the trigger on the stack, and then you end the turn.
Yeah.
So the trigger never resolves, the turn goes away, and you take another turn. And then you just keep doing this over and over and over and over and over until you kill them eventually. In this deck, you kill them with Words of War. That's your final kill condition.
Yeah.
He plays 2 Words of War, probably because he doesn't want to lose if the first one gets disenchanted, I would imagine. You could probably also similarly play like an Emrakul or something like that if you wanted to. Let's see, although he only has 16 lands in his deck, I don't know, 16 lands that make mana. Oh no, here we go. 4 Wasteland, 4 Plateau. I counted wrong, sorry. 4 Wasteland, 4 Plateau, 4 Sacred Foundry, 3 Plains, 2 Mountain. I think he just probably wants more dual lands, so that's why he's playing Sacred Foundries.
That's crazy.
But he's clearly not card availability because he has the 4 plateaus as well.
So he just wants a bunch of white-red dual lands.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to fool around with Rugged Prairie or anything like that.
That's pretty interesting. Well, I guess if you want to like cast a Final Fortune, because even if you don't have the Ice Cream Scepter, you can still take an extra turn if you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have a Sundial. So, I mean, he wants to be able to cast Abolishers and cast Final Fortunes.
Right, you need the red and the white.
Yeah, and you don't have Brainstorms to like cycle through your deck.
Right. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. I was hoping we'd see something like this eventually, and I'm glad it's here this weekend. Right, so Ryan's got his hand, it looks like. I think Andrew's taking a mulligan here, going down to 6 cards.
No, he's actually down to 5.
So this is, yeah, well, blue-white kind of like land stilly, I guess. No Mystics. Weird that it just doesn't have Mystic, though.
Yeah, not enough room.
Yeah.
He wants to be super controlling. Yeah, Andrew's actually been down to 5 cards. It's pretty low.
I mean, we saw blue-white land still for a while when like Jerry first innovated the deck, but we haven't seen it really since people started playing Stoneforge in it.
Yeah.
So here we go, off to the races. Ryan Foster leads on 2 lands.
And he missed a land
Andrew
drop.
with just a Sacred Foundry, and at this point, Ryan Foster's probably like 1 Sacred Foundry, huh?
Thinking you need a green so you can play like a Wild Nickel or something.
Sure. So there's a Wasteland out of Andrew Johnson. And
I like how this Legacy format happens. Like, he plays a Sacred Foundry turn 1. Like, I'd be very confused by like Sacred Foundry.
right, exactly. That's why I think it really throws a lot of people off. And the late president passes back. Draws on.
And now Ryan's just going to be able to make a bunch of land drops. He's already ahead on lands, plus he's got a standstill in
Yeah,
play.
I mean, this is looking pretty bad for Andrew. Now, granted, his deck is the kind of deck that can maybe set something up going along.
It's definitely better for Andrew that his opponent's playing standstill instead of being an aggressive
Right,
deck.
like if he was Zooey, he might just be dead already, right? But because he's playing standstill, he's going to have some time. Still, not where you want to be in this matchup. And you almost have to wonder at what point is it worth just conceding, because you don't want to accidentally reveal information about your deck going into game 2.
I mean, not at this point.
No, obviously not at this point. But if you have to start discarding cards, for example.
He's going to play something to...
Oh, the jig is up, never mind. Sundial of the Infinite comes down.
And he's just going to do... Why would you just throw the Sundial out and let your opponent draw those cards this turn? And already behind.
Well, Ryan has a full grip, so you want to cast Sundial so your opponent will go up to a bunch of cards. The problem is, he counterspell. And now Ryan, I think, probably knows exactly what's going on. There's only one good reason why he would be playing Sundial, or maybe 2 if you consider stacks, but out of the Sacred Foundry deck, Wasteland is a Sacred Foundry. And Andrew Johnson quickly falling behind.
And this is Jace the Mind Sculptor coming down.
Yep, and then he'll just start Fate Sealing. And Ryan should lock this game up in pretty short order.
I do like the innovation of this format, but they're so, like, I've been turned. I think there's no way I'm not going to be playing, blue decks with Brainstorm and things like that. It just seems great. Like, I like the look of Ryan's deck. I'd probably want to play Stoneforge and
it's just so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't get killed, you're so far ahead. There's the Jace. But, I mean, to be fair, when Jerry innovated the deck first, he didn't have Stoneforge in there either. It just was kind of something that was added in afterward.
I mean, the Standstills just became an aggressive spell. That's pretty much where the switch was.
Right. Well, actually, they still played Standstill, some of them, although they switched to Ancestral Vision, which was the change a lot of them made. They just cut some of the walkers and a couple of the slower cards for Mystics. Have more proactive strategy. So, land number 2, and Andrew Johnson passes back to Ryan Foster. Jace just going to continue to take control of the game.
Yeah, it's such a powerful card.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly his first card to be banned in Standard, along with Mystic, I suppose, in a long time.
The funny thing about it, though, is everyone talks about Jace being so powerful, but I'm definitely for sure, like, if you had to just pick one card to be banned in Standard, would you pick Jace or Stoneforge?
Well, it depends what your goal is. I think Mystic is the more powerful card, probably, but Jace was the perception that had the more powerful card. So for getting people to play for the tournaments again, banning Jace is better because people feel like they can't compete, it's too good, and there's a top, it gets misstepped, Andrew missteps back. No, Andrew has 4 missteps in his deck, no blue sources.
Yeah.
So
powerful card.
And Ryan forces back. And untaps, draws.
Drew Spell Snare.
And yeah, Spell Snare's gonna be pretty good in this match. All of Ryan's key cards cost 2. Scepter and Sundial. And Andrew shows his top card to that Jace. And the Mind Sculptor will decree... Stays on top. Oh, it goes to the bottom.
I think it was a land.
Can't have that one, says Ryan Foster. And attack for 2 with the Mishra's Factory.
Just hitting him on 2 different levels.
Take 2, put your land on the bottom. It feels demoralizing. That's the thing I hate to play Jace's +2 ability. It just feels so demoralizing.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody like plays a Jace +2, leaves it on
You
top.
can never even come back, yeah.
Yeah. The thing is you have to keep playing too, because you have like this hope that like, you know, brick, and you know you'll have a chance, but nope. So shows his card again to Ryan.
Keeps it on top. Attacks for 2, sends the turn back.
Andrew drops down to 14 life now. Enlightened Tutor from Andrew Johnson.
Breaks up the shuffle, gets an actual card in his hand.
Right. Gets to see all the cards that went to the bottom. I always thought that was interesting because on Magic Online, you don't get to see what cards are fate sealed to the bottom.
And yeah, I always take a look when I'm in a tournament, just to know what my opponent thought was what was needed.
Right. Like for example, if there's the trick too, where like if someone has a fetch land, you'll just always leave it on top. And so when against one opponent, if he fate sealed me and left, I think it was like Treble Flames on top or something when he was at like 6 or 7 life, because I had a fetch land in play. So I cracked my fetch land, saw what it was.
I've seen through that. It definitely depends who your opponent is, but I've definitely seen through my opponent, and he like looked at my card, looked at me, then looked back at the card and set it on top, and I just drew it instantly, and it was another Jason. I killed him, and he really just wanted to level me, but sometimes it's just not like something safe you should do.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be risky, and as you saw, I mean, Ryan Foster on the back of that Jace just took control of that game once again, showing how powerful the card is. So now we're headed into the sideboarding phase of the game. Andrew Johnson, what do we think?
What? Oh, sideboarding?
Yeah, sideboarding.
I don't know, like, I actually have no clue, just because this is a weird deck. Like, I think I can figure out Ryan's sideboarding. I don't know if I can figure out the weird combo deck. Like, I don't think...
All right, fair enough. I'll take Andrews. You look at Ryan's. Let me know how you think you would sideboard.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Vendilion Click seemed pretty strong just to break up a combo piece. And then, like, Angel's Grace, Torment's Crypt, Crucible doesn't seem even that great. Just because he knows he's trying to eliminate a combo. And cards like, you know, Swords to Plowshare, Wrath of God, Dismember, they're all pretty bad. So I think he'll be, like, bringing in Vendilion Clicks and probably the Crucible, and taking out some of his creature removal.
Okay. So I agree with most of that assessment. I think bring in, just cut like Dismember, for example. You don't want any of those. You don't want Swords. Philadelphia Shackle is pretty bad. Oh, you didn't see the Grand Abolishers, I guess. Maybe you want something for that. But Wrath can come out. On Andrew Johnson's side, I think what we're probably going to see is he's going to want to bring in... I think if he assumes that his opponent is some kind of blue-white, standstill-ish, maybe with Stoneforge.
He's assuming that.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know if he has Stoneforge or not, which is a big thing. But Disenchant his card is probably pretty good here. You can hit Crucible with it going along. You can hit Batterskull with it if you want to buy some time. Crucible could be an option if you think you can wasteland your opponent out going along. Like Crucible against the landstill decks is good, simply because you can beat them on Crucible War going along if they're trying to, like, say, wasteland you out.
And it's a slow game, and he knows his opponent, like, is trying to do some combo thing.
Right, exactly. Even Mind Sensor, I don't think he'll bring in, but it is an interesting card in this matchup. You can get them if they're going to be shuffling their deck a lot, which they do. Certainly something interesting to consider. Probably not coming in. I don't think Andrew has a ton of sideboard here.
No.
So I wonder if he thinks this is a good matchup, because the blue-white deck is pretty popular. And to not have many sideboard cards for it means that you probably think it's favorable.
Well, I mean, we really don't know what happened because he just didn't have a hand.
Yeah, totally.
Missed on land drops.
It is. It's too bad we didn't get to see him in action the first game, but now you're after the races in game 2. Andrew keeps, Ryan keeps, and turn 1 planes from Andrew Johnson. Turn 1 Flooded Strand from Ryan Foster. Andrew's going to go for an end-step Enlightened Tutor.
Trying to get the combo set up really quick.
And it looks like Brainstorm unresponsive by Ryan, probably looking for mental misstep.
That could be.
That's the card. Mental misstep drastically defines how Legacy is played now. And being able to counter 1-drops.
I like the war. Like everyone was talking, like, is it gonna have an impact? Is it not? And it just became this powerful card. It's even, I even like was talking to Randy Buehler yesterday about how I like it being, you know, standard playable. Randy was talking about how he didn't think that, you know, on the spike side of it, that one like Phyrexian mana spell should be okay.
All right, so Light Tutor gets in response.
I think he's gonna respond with Brainstorm, or is he pitching? I think he might be trying to think about pitching to his Force of Will. Oh,
well, you don't. I mean, it probably makes more sense to counter whatever they get with the tutor.
yeah, sure.
Now, obviously,
it's card disadvantage.
now, obviously, that's a big trap, right? Like the old, oh, I'll let you tutor and counter what you tutor trick has been done a million times. But if you're playing against a red-white deck, it's probably safe to say that they're not going to counter you back.
And especially a Force of Will.
Right. Like mental misstep, he can misstep you back clearly, but yeah, I mean, I'll never forget the time. I don't remember who it was, but when the person just let the tutor resolve and they got Dust Bowl and just crushed their opponent because they're like, oh, tutor, whatever, like, doesn't matter. Wasteland taps for Sensei's Divining Top.
Here's the Force.
And Force comes down for Ryan Foster. That should deal with the top. Alright, and so that resolves, and Andrew just passes back to Ryan. Ryan's sitting on another Force of Will.
Yeah, he did keep in his Swords to Plowshare as well.
Okay, yeah, he figured there might be some kind of creature looking at Andrew's deck. He knows to finish somehow. And there's a standstill. Basically just draw 3 for 2 mana in this matchup. Not a lot Andrew can do about it. Alright, another Wasteland for Andrew Johnson. Okay. And he's going to crack 1 Wasteland on Ryan's Wasteland when he has the opportunity. Down comes a Plateau, so Ryan has 3 lands now, opposed to Ryan's 2. Ryan also plays his 3rd land now, plays a Tundra.
Mm-hmm.
And players just playing Drago now. Andrew's goal is probably to get Ryan up to 7 cards, then crack the standstill, so he'll have to discard cards in his end step. Usually the default play a lot of players do. So it looks like Andrew brought in his Oblivion Rings. 4th land for Ryan Foster.
To be able to hit the Jaces if they do resolve.
Hit Jace, yeah.
And Ryan kept his swords in.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think you can probably assume there's some kind of creatures looking around there, some kind of Stoneforge side plan or something like that. So, see what happens. Looks like Andrew's hand is pretty stocked, but I don't know how he's going to manage to get past Ryan's wall of counter magic. He just discards swords, passes the turn.
Yeah. Now we just see who draws more lands. That's pretty much what happens here, isn't it?
I think Ryan is going to be able to win the war there. His deck is built to draw tons of lands.
It's his standstill. He's got more lands in his deck.
And he can start putting pressure on Andrew, too, with Mishra's Factories.
Well, I mean, there is a Wasteland still left in play.
Right. Andrew not pulling together what he's looking for. Discards Orm's Chant there, giving Ryan a little more of a glimmer into what's going on.
I think Ryan's figured it out.
Well, or he discarded Light Tutor, sorry, not Orm's Chant. My mistake. Wasteland on one of Ryan's lands puts Andrew in further behind on his land count.
Why would he?
I couldn't see what the land he got rid of was. Was it a Mishra's Factory?
It might have been.
Andrew discards Final Fortune. For those of you who are just tuning in, the way this combo deck works is, once again, you put Final Fortune on Icecrown Scepter, and you Sundial of the Infinite to end your turn when the lose your game trigger happens. Final Fortune says take another turn, you lose the game at the end of that turn, but if you activate Sundial with the trigger on the stack at the end of that turn, you don't lose. So you can take infinite turns. And Andrew draws a Scepter. Maybe he's got a Chant in his hand, maybe we'll see him go for something here.
It's scary to do it now.
Yeah, so he Wastelanded the Factory, which is why he blew that Wasteland.
I don't know, if I was Andrew, I'd still just be waiting, trying to craft the perfect 7 to go for a big combo.
Yep, craft perfect 7. Hopefully find some more lands.
Yeah, there's
to
no
lean on.
pressure right now.
I mean, he's only got, is that only 21 lands? 4, 8, 12, 16. That's only 21 lands. So his deck is not well crafted to take advantage of the time standstill bias.
But, I mean, no, he is taking advantage of it right now, though, because Ryan's not putting any pressure. They're just making as many line drops as possible, but what's Ryan's 7 going to look like against Andrew's 7? Is it just going to be forces and missteps, or is he going to have spells that actually do something waiting behind him?
Sure. I mean, the issue is Andrew has to resolve 2 cards, right? If he resolves just Final Fortune Ice Crown Scepter, that's not good enough because he has to resolve the Sundial next turn too. So it'll take 2 chance or something to make that happen.
So I actually feel, I feel right now Ryan is under the actual pressure, because if he gives Andrew 20 turns to put a bunch of lands in play, then he just goes chant,
right,
and just finally gets to resolve something.
I mean, it's interesting. Ryan is under actual pressure, but he doesn't have a lot he can do. I mean, he can't afford to break his own standstill, and he's waiting for Andrew to make a move. So he just has to basically play a card,
Factory.
and he draw a Mistress Factory. It looks like he's discarding Jace there.
Yeah, and so I mean, what Andrew's going to be wanting to do is get as many lands as possible into play, craft the perfect 7, have 1 copy of Final Fortune, 1 copy of Ice Crown Scepter, 1 copy of Sundial, and then the other 3 being Abolishers and Orm's Chance.
Yeah. I mean, if he resolved an Abolisher, suddenly everything goes live.
If he finally gets to enough lands.
Yeah. Draws Mental Misstep there. Yeah, hitting enough lands is the big bottleneck for Andrew here. Once again, only has 21 in his deck. He's had 2 or 3 wastelanded so far.
And he's wastelanded as
well. So, I mean, who knows how many are actually left.
Yeah. And on Ryan, he just wants a Mistress Factory.
Yeah, and Ryan's got, how many lands does Ryan have? Way more than 21, right?
He's got more than 21, but
plus he's got Cantrip.
His are pretty irrelevant, in my opinion, right now, having a bunch of lands in play.
Sure, I mean,
if he had 15 lands, it's the same as having 5.
I mean, if a counterspell, it can make
I
a
guess
difference.
for actually being able to tap out for Force of Wills.
Yeah, I think it can make a pretty big difference. But the main thing is he has to find Mistress Factory.
Don't know if he wants to discard the Spell Snare. He's thinking about it, he's like, well...
I mean, that's how I used to play the High Tide versus the Ophidian matchup. You just sit there and draw cards till you both had 7, and then as soon as they discarded, as soon as they started discarding, you'd drop the 8 cards, you'd have 1 more card than they did, and you could start going off. Yeah. And it's probably what Andrew's going to try and do here. So it looks like Ryan broke the standstill here. He decided to go for Jace, breaking the standstill. He was tired of it.
Yeah, and it seems fine to do. Like, you want to put some pressure on your opponent. He's got a bunch of forces in hand. The Jace is going to be able to... I don't know about actually starting to fate sell him, because he just gave him a bunch of cards. He's got 10 cards in hand now. So what's he going to follow? Oh, he's going to follow up the Jace with a standstill.
Oh my, yes.
Seems pretty decent. Now he makes Andrew have to do something.
Yep, and he's fighting an active Jace, so he has to break that standstill. And I'm trying to figure out what's in Andrew's hand, like if he has any shot of going for anything. And it seems like
he's just land light to actually go for anything. Especially with Ryan having a bunch of forces, like it's going to be really difficult for him to get there. All right, so he's going to chant, get that card off the top of his library that Ryan fate sealed. Oh wait. So okay, so end of turn he tutors, forcing Ryan to draw a bunch of cards and then discard them. So 2 standstills were broken this turn. That's pretty interesting.
So he goes to find Rune Halo. Rune Halo is probably just going to name Jace, so he can't be fate sealed.
Yeah. Have you ever seen 2 standstills be broke for each player in the same turn?
No, that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
By pretty rare, I mean I don't think I've ever seen that in my life.
Yeah, both players drew 3 this turn.
Alright, so Andrew's going to Orm's Chant Ryan Foster.
Which is a must counter.
Is it?
It's not?
So, I mean, what the Orm's Chant means is Andrew Johnson's going to play the Rune Halo this turn. Because Resolving Scepter, I don't think actually does anything.
Scepter on Chant? Oh, that doesn't really do anything, does it?
Yeah, I don't think that's relevant. So, I mean, it depends. If you think you can beat a Rune Halo, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't blow your counter magic on it. But if he's going to be discarding anyway or whatever, then it's fine. Let's see what happens. All right, so Orm's Chant resolves and plays a third land. He's gonna crack both those.
And he might just Oblivion Ring if he still has one.
Yeah, he still has O-Ring in his hand. He could ring away that Jace.
I mean, if he has Scepter Chant, doesn't he just win? How does Ryan beat Scepter Chant if he had it?
He can just counter.
All right, so one more time we'll explain the combo. What Andrew Johnson's trying to do, he has Orm's Chants and Grand Abolishers to protect a combo, which is Isochron Scepter, which is you can put any instant that costs 2 or less on it, and then for 2 more mana, you can play it by tapping the Isochron Scepter for 2 mana and tapping it. And they put Final Fortune on the Isochron Scepter and printing it, which means you get to, every turn you can tap the Isochron Scepter for 2 mana and take an extra turn, but the cost is you lose the game at the end of your next turn. But he also has this card called, what's it called again? Sundial of the Infinite, which is 2 mana, 1 mana to tap, and it ends your turn, which then which defeats the losing the game part, and he just gets to take infinite turns and then kills with Grand Abolisher or Words of War. And so he's just trying to set up an infinite combo.
And yeah, for everyone asking, Ryan didn't discard. We're working on getting that resolved right now. We've informed them, and it's being relayed as we speak.
Oh, he was supposed to discard?
He was supposed to discard. Like Ryan Foster
at the end
was,
of his turn.
At the end of his turn after that standstill. There's a lot of confusion. Andrew cast that Lightning Tutor, and he never discarded. And the player should be informed any moment now. All right, so Vanilla Click comes down. We finally get a view of Andrew Johnson's hand. Ruined Halo, Sundial, Final Fortune, Scepter.
Wait, he has
Grand
Abolisher. He has 8
Abolisher.
cards as well. I'm correct to say he has 8 cards in hand, right?
That is 8 cards. And Ryan is casting this on. Was Ryan casting this on Andrew's turn? No, he's casting this on his turn, correct?
And what did he play? Where'd the? Oh, he repealed the Ruined Halo.
Oh, repealed. Okay.
And then took it away.
And took it away. All right, that makes more sense.
Explaining the Final Fortune caused us to be a really awkward. So he repealed it during Ryan's turn. So Andrew was fine with. He had 7 cards in hand.
Yes, correct.
When he said go.
And so now the players, I think, are talking to the judge about Ryan Foster's hand size, trying to resolve it.
So it's been a crazy game, but one of the craziest parts about this game is that earlier, I mean, if you were still like trying to figure out the combo, both players drew off standstill. They both cracked a standstill and drew off standstill in the same turn.
Yeah, that's something you do not see very often. And by very often, I've never seen that happen.
But
I mean, there are 2 standstills. They both drew, both got cracked. I mean, it's very rare you crack your own standstill, so that's already a pretty rare occurrence. And the fact that they both happened in the same turn. And we're going to head back to the booth for a second while they resolve that issue. Gavin Burton here with Brad Nelson. So what do you think about the Sundial of the Infinite deck?
Like I was saying earlier, I think it's a really cute and cool deck, and I give props to people that play Legacy all the time. They want to try interesting things, but with me just like seeing the format every once in a while and starting to research it, I've like learned the power of blue. I want to play blue cards all the time, and in this format, I've just liked the blue-white decks. They look really good. That's what I like to play. But it seems like an interesting deck. I give props to anyone that wants to come with these new decks, break the format. It keeps it interesting.
For sure.
And I love how Legacy players want to do that. They always want to win with something new.
Right. They don't just want to stick with the same old stale decks, which is easy to do when there's 100 stale decks you can play, trying something new. You mentioned blue. I'm surprised that blue isn't in this deck somehow. I felt like if you're going to try to assemble a combo, blues with Brainstorms and Ponders and Preordain seems like a good place to be.
There's
you get
a lot
Force of Will backup. There's
a lot of cards that you want in this deck, though. You want Enlightened Tutors. You need the like all these combo pieces, and Orm's Chant and Grand Abolisher help save the combo. So like you could splash for like Brainstorm.
Wouldn't be the craziest thing ever.
And I also like how this deck like. Oh wait, so Zoo decks do run like Pride Mage main, right?
Yes, they're in Pride Mage. Most of them do.
So I guess if you can get it before Pride Mage is in play, like even just you can Chant lock.
I mean, they can still play instants, but yeah.
They can still, but they only have what, like 4 lightning bolts?
Most of them only have 4 lightning bolts. There are some burn zoo lists that have like Fire Blast. Stuff like
okay.
That. But I mean, most of the zoo decks don't have too many things you have to interact. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a thing you can do. I mean, I imagine Andrew's deck is tuned. I thought it'd be tuned to beat the control decks, but for the way this matchup is playing out, it doesn't seem to be the case.
No, it seems like it's very good against the aggressive decks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quick combo deck, but if there was a way to interact, I mean, who knows? Like, I don't know how much you I do not know how much you tested this deck either.
Yeah.
So it's possible he just threw it together. But
Because it takes quite a few turns to assemble. It's not like you can like. I don't think he can start going infinite until like turn 4. He takes an extra turn, and then turn 5 he can assemble the combo fully, just by like forcing out the spells. It still takes until turn 5 to actually have all the combo pieces going.
all right, looks like we're back to the game. Players have resolved the issue. And all right, now he's discarding. So it looks like the judge is making him discard right now.
Okay. I never like how that's how it has to go down.
Better than getting a game loss or something, I suppose, for having too many cards. But
I mean, to me, it personally, well, we'll just keep going with the game.
all right, Air Mason comes down for Andrew Johnson, and taps 2 plateaus, and there's Grand Abolisher.
Sweet art. I like Grand Abolisher.
It's a nice little M12 card right there. Helps protect the combo with his good M12 buddy, Sundial of the Infinite. So now we'll see if Ryan Foster goes for a counter war here.
I think he's set up to do it.
Yeah, I think he's got to counter the Grand Abolisher. See what happens.
Force of will.
All right, so he goes for Force, pitching a standstill. All right, Grand Abolisher is countered.
Yeah.
And Andrew takes a look over Ryan's graveyard, just seeing what he's got going on there. You know, seeing how many of each things he's used, what he's got left, what he has to worry about. All right, and there's Ruined Halo from Andrew Johnson this time. Again, I'm sure if it resolves, he'll name Jace the Mind Sculptor once more. Does not want to get decked out by that Jace.
No, that's one of the scariest things about Jace in this matchup, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Jace is, let's talk about how good it is. It's just every one of its abilities is insane. Plus, just the 4th one, the ultimate, just ends the game.
Yep.
You know? It's not that hard to make it work.
I did win a game under the ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, some games have definitely been won, especially if you're like an aggressive deck or something like that too. Or if you have a specific combo, you can maybe sculpt your hand, but it's not easy. So looks like Ryan's gonna brainstorm with Jace. Ruined Halo landed, named Jace. And so Ryan Foster's board is Jace the Mind Sculptor Vidalian Click against Andrew Johnson's Ruined Halo, naming Jace.
So if you had to pick a side to be on right now to start play the game, which side would you be on?
Ryan Foster's side. But
You don't want to be the comeback kid?
I mean, Ryan's hand is so stocked right now. It's another standstill coming down this turn. I think I might have. I guess not. I think I might have +2 myself with Jace, but
Why would you +2 yourself?
I think what you can do is if you build Jace up high enough, then you can just find a turn where you just go repeal your Ruined Halo.
I mean, I think he's
Ultimate,
already
yeah.
got such an insane board position. I mean, you can brainstorm and just give back some counter spells.
Just make sure you don't lose in a weird way. Sure, that's definitely a play you can
I
play.
mean, Andrew still has a grip of like 6 cards.
Let's see, in Ryan's deck, he also only has 1 repeal, I suppose, which makes waiting for
he's
another
already
repeal.
gone. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
already
he
gone.
used that one already. Otherwise, he has no other way to get rid of an onboard Ruined Halo. It's good to know. So yeah, I guess waiting for another repeal wouldn't be such a good option if you only have 1. So Andrew Johnson goes for Enlightened Tutor.
Still trying to get this combo set up. It'd be fun to see it in action.
Oh,
especially under all this hate.
Yeah, I'd love to see him go off. I think that'd be great.
And grab Sundial. Yeah, I mean, there's a Force, a Spell Snare, and a Misstep over in Ryan's hand.
Yeah, just once again, I think if you find a way to be blue, you can fight the counter wars a little better. But just being cold to a Force of Will, I mean, might as well be playing Goblin Charbelcher, right?
Yeah.
So
Wait, what was interesting is he went and got a second Sundial.
maybe trying to make Ryan think the Sundial is the important piece, and he has redundancy elsewhere.
Yeah.
So he plays the Ice Crown Scepter. Taps 1, Spell Snare from Ryan Foster.
Misstep. Oh, he's not going to misstep it?
So Spell Snare on Ice Crown Scepter resolves. That puts Andrew's Scepter into the graveyard. And now Andrew has another Scepter he can put out. There's Scepter number 2. And Counter Spell from Ryan Foster. That's why you would misstep it, right? So that he has to burn another counter spell. on
Yeah.
it.
Especially like you don't know if he has any more one-drop counter spells.
Right.
He
So
might have counter spells. He might have Force of Wills.
And there's an end step brainstorm.
I think Andrew has a misstep in his hand. I'm pretty sure I saw it.
Right. I didn't see it, but I believe you if you say so.
I might be wrong. Which I am.
Yeah, I don't think I see a blue card in there.
Just 2 Final Fortunes and 2 Sundials.
Well, I mean, if he lands a sundial, you can always just take another turn, try and Mize, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Ryan's got that Jace, which we'll keep brainstorming with.
And now he's got 2 man lands to go with the assault.
All right, so 5 this turn will crunch Andrew down to 9, and then conveniently a colonnade activation next turn makes exactly 9 damage.
That is what it does.
That's how we do it in Standard. That's how we do it in Legacy. We watched Nick Spagnuolo and Edgar Flores dance a similar dance earlier today, where they were activating man lands, figuring out the right times to activate them.
Well, they were just like chump blocking with Ichabod.
Chump block with Ichabod next side, exactly. So,
I mean, the fun Copblade matchups are when everyone's attrition and they're just like battling with Colonnades, Tectonic
Right.
Edges, and Inkmoths.
It's like, well, we've drawn all of our cards. We'll get the earnings. Our lands are like, awesome.
Oh, and there's the Orm's chant for last turn, trying to get a Scepter into play.
Yep, a little late.
and it looks like Vidalian click number 2 for Ryan Foster. And if you don't know how that works,
He just Vendilion clicked,
yes, the clicks will legend rule themselves,
but he gets the ability.
but he gets the ability. So he gets to peek at Andrew's hand. Take a card, any card. And that'll make sure that Andrew can't kill him. That's what Ryan's trying to ensure. Now, it's possible Andrew will try and resolve an Orm Chant in response, thinking maybe Ryan will be like, oh, well, whatever, I'm going to click him anyway. But I imagine Ryan's going to counter that.
Yeah.
Assuming he has multiple counter spells. All right, goes for Mental Misstep. That's going to resolve. And there's your 4 cards. Words of War, Final Fortune, and 2 Sundials. So Ryan makes Andrew ship the Final Fortune, draws a mountain, and we're going to land Words of War and Sundial, I'd imagine. All right, so Ryan goes for Words of War. Or Andrew goes for Words of War. Ryan thinks about countering it.
I mean, so right now there's 0 chance that Andrew can come back from this, correct? He can only draw 1 card. He needs 2 cards for his combo. He can't deal with the man lands that are attacking.
Looking at his list, he could draw Wasteland.
Or swords, I guess.
Or swords. Like, he has a couple outs to the creatures. It would take pretty insane draws against an active Jace.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't count on it, but it'd be fun to see what happens. Worst case, we might see a Final Fortune go off, and you never know what happens when that occurs. Let's see. So Ryan shuffles up. And it looks like his hand is swords, 2 lands, and a Force of Will. Brainstorms into another force, another factory, and another swords. So
unreal.
Ryan has all the tools, acting just like this blue-white deck should.
Do you think he's gonna send in both of his man lands?
Is there any real reason to?
Reason not to, or 2?
No reason to.
I mean, at least the colonnade, right? No.
I mean, you at least want to serve with one of them, obviously, but it's still lethal next turn. So the question is what you want to get within now, and if you want to play around swords.
Well, if you attack with a Mishra Factory, it's not lethal.
Well, he has another factory in his hand.
Can he activate all of his lands? I don't think he can.
I think he has enough to activate all of his lands. 5 for the colonnade.
I think he's 1 short.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh no,
he has exactly enough to do it next turn. But does he not play a land? Oh, maybe he already played a land. That's where our math might have been wrong. Because he did not put down.
That's why he wanted to attack the colonnade.
Factory. I think he wants to leave up 5 to hardcast Force potentially.
Sure.
But.
And he's doing so well that he just.
All right, and that's just that. Andrew Johnson just extends the hand.
Oh Ryan, yeah, that is lethal. I forgot that Mishra Factory pumps.
Oh.
Forgot about the Mishra Factory pump.
Everyone always forgets with the Mishra Factory pump.
At my first Legacy GP, I attacked a Bob into a Mishra Factory, not knowing it could pump itself.
Whoops.
Yeah. I thought a custom mana to activate.
Didn't make that mistake twice. Yeah, Mr. Spectre is a weird little card.
Yeah.
Very strange. But that's that. So Andrew Johnson falls to Ryan Foster, 2-0. Hey everyone, back in the booth. I'm Gavin Verhey. I am joined here by Brad Nelson, and we just saw a pretty neat little deck. Maybe with some tuning, it could maybe get there. Red, white. I think blue is where you want to be. I understand you have a lot of combo pieces you want to play with, but some cool stuff going on.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was pretty cool.
What did you think of Ryan's deck? Were you happy without the Stoneforges in there, or do you think there should be Stoneforges?
I mean, I like the deck. I think Stoneforge is a great card, but I do appreciate that like this version is holding so many removal spells that people have. Like everyone else's Swords to Plowshares are really bad game one and everything, and I do like that he's trying to just kill with his Jaces, because obviously all the Mistress Factories are going to get hit by that removal.
Right.
But none of his spells are, and so he's going to try to win with his Shackles, his Crucible, or his Jaces, and then he has the one Elspeth to try to get there at the end.
Exactly. Well, so that was that. So what other decks do you want to see today? All kinds of crazy stuff in this room. Hey, what do you guys want to see? Tell us on Twitter if there's
Try to get some matchups.
Right. If there's a specific deck you want to see, something crazy, maybe something that we didn't get to see last week, or that we saw last week and you want a repeat of, we'd love to give you an encore. So let us know. Tweet at us. Tell us what kind of things out there you want to see it from the Legacy
Same
format.
with people. I mean, that's the cool thing about the SCGs is you go around the world or around the U.S. and you see all these different players, and like today we have Zane Bagg and we have Conley in the room. And
Patrick Sullivan. I know he won his first round. He's still battling out there in round 2, playing mono red again.
Interesting story about the deck. Do you know the story?
I do know this story. Do you want to tell everybody?
So there was just a friendly bet between Billy Moreno and Patrick Sullivan, and pretty much just Billy wanted to see if Patrick would just put some useless lands in his deck, which were
Volcanic Island and
a Scrubland.
Scrubland.
Right? Yeah.
Or not Scrubland.
Blood.
Badlands.
Oh, okay, Badlands. So Patrick is just playing 20 mountains and 2 dual lands that have no function in his deck, just for a friendly wager to see if he can win the tournament with having them. So
there's no money on this bet or anything.
No. It's just a friendly wager.
Yeah,
I dare you to do this.
Yes.
And they were talking about the situation where he goes and he plays the volcanic and passes an opponent wastelands, and he just lightning bolts to the face and gets so much value out of the person wasting the wasteland.
So this is what I said. He told me about that. I was like, oh, how is your opponent going to feel when they go Hive Mind Slaughter Pact and you pay for it with your Badlands? Unfortunately, Patrick has no creatures in his deck, so the situation is unlikely to occur.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of sweet anyway. I mean, to be fair, this kind of strike fear